How many times have you found yourself stuck in a spiral of negative thoughts and emotions, not knowing how to break free? It feels like fear, anger, and anxiety just come out of nowhere, stealing your peace and leaving you at the mercy of inner chaos. But what if I told you there's a powerful secret to changing that? Sadhguru, a modern master of ancient wisdom, teaches that it's not only possible to face these mental states, but to rise above them. And no, it's not about suppressing or running away from emotions, but learning to control them like a true master. Get ready to discover how to take charge of your mind and turn every turbulent moment into an opportunity for growth and freedom. Thoughts are like passing clouds in the sky of the mind. They come and go, without having any real power over who we are. As Sadhguru explains, it's essential to understand that the mind produces these thoughts, but that doesn't mean we have to identify with them. True wisdom comes when we can create a separation between the self and what the mind is generating. Imagine you're watching a movie instead of being part of it. That way, it's easier not to get swept away by the emotions that thoughts bring. To take control of the mind, you need to practice self-reflection and observe your thoughts without judging them. When feelings like anxiety or anger come up, instead of fighting them, you can simply notice them and let them pass. For example, next time anxiety shows up, try focusing on your breath for a few minutes. This helps create a small distance between the self and the thought, allowing it to lose its grip. This separation between the self and the mind also has a profound impact on how we deal with emotions. Instead of drowning in negative thoughts, you can learn to see them as just background noise. It's like turning down the volume on a noisy radio. The more you practice this separation, the stronger you become and the clearer you experience life. This is when you start to understand that the mind isn't the enemy. It's just a tool that needs to be handled properly. The mind can be either an ally or an adversary, depending on how we choose to use it. For Sadhguru, the secret to overcoming negative emotions lies in training the mind to work in our favor. Many times, people feel overwhelmed by thoughts of fear, anger, or anxiety simply because they haven't learned how to consciously direct their minds. A helpful practice is to adopt a daily routine of meditation or breathing exercises, which help calm the mind and reduce the intensity of negative emotions. A simple moment of silence in the morning can set the tone for the whole day. Besides techniques like meditation, another effective way to take control is through mental reprogramming. This means swapping out automatic negative thoughts with positive, intentional affirmations. For example, when the thought "I'm not good enough" pops up, it can be consciously replaced with "I have what it takes to handle this." These small shifts in how the mind thinks make a big difference over time, training it to respond in a more balanced and less reactive way. It takes consistency, but the effects are long-lasting. When someone masters the conscious use of their mind, emotions stop being roadblocks and become tools for growth. Instead of letting anxiety take over the moment, you can use it as a signal to figure out what needs to be adjusted. Similarly, anger can be channeled into positive action, like addressing a situation you've been avoiding. The important thing is to understand that the mind will always produce thoughts and feelings, but it's up to each person to decide whether to be led by them or take the reins. The mind, when understood and used correctly, can be an incredible resource for everyday life. Sadhguru compares it to a multi-tool capable of generating emotional states that range from deep calm to total restlessness. The difference lies in how you choose to use it. Letting your mind drift is like handling a sharp knife without practice. It can harm instead of help. That's why the practice of observing your thoughts without identifying with them, as if you're watching a movie scene, is a powerful way to learn how to master your mind. When the mind starts generating a cascade of unwanted emotions, it's a sign that mental processes need some tuning. Just like a musician tunes their instrument, you need to adjust your mental strings to produce the sound you want. Techniques like conscious visualization and daily gratitude practices help redirect the mind towards more positive focuses. For instance, upon waking up, instead of worrying about the day's challenges, take a few minutes to visualize what you want to achieve, cultivating a sense of well-being and purpose. This habit, when repeated, trains the mind to respond with less reactivity and more clarity. The ability to shape your mind to produce the emotional states you want completely transforms the way you experience life. Instead of being at the mercy of unpredictable thoughts and feelings, you can train your mind to focus on what brings growth and harmony. This doesn't mean avoiding negative emotions, but rather learning to direct them toward constructive purposes. A trained mind can turn frustration into motivation and fear into courage, creating a mental state that not only reflects external circumstances, but also influences and changes the environment around you. People often try to suppress or avoid emotions like anger and sadness, thinking it will make them stronger. Sadhguru suggests that instead of eliminating these emotions, it's more effective to learn to see them for what they really are, creations of your own mind. They show up as automatic responses to internal and external triggers, but don't need to define who you are or dictate your actions. For example, when anger arises, you can recognize it without acting impulsively, understanding that it's just a temporary feeling, not an absolute truth. The key to dealing with negative emotions is recognizing that they aren't the problem themselves. It's how we react to them that matters. Anger, when seen clearly, can become a powerful energy for positive change. Instead of battling against anxiety, for example, you can use it as a reminder to take better care of yourself, whether by taking time to relax, exercising, or meditating. The goal isn't to suppress the emotion, but to redirect it towards something that fosters growth. Over time, this approach of accepting and redirecting negative emotions changes the way a person handles everyday challenges. Emotions stop being seen as obstacles and start becoming opportunities for self-discovery and growth. You begin to realize that emotions, whether positive or negative, are just information that the mind produces, and it's up to you to decide what to do with that information. When you learn to live this way, every emotion turns into a learning opportunity, a way to understand yourself and the world around you better. Sadhguru often compares the mind to a movie studio, where all the scenes are created by you. The mind can produce movies that range from light comedies to intense dramas or even horror films. The difference lies in how you direct those thoughts and emotions. When you have conscious control over what your mind is filming, you can create mental images that promote peace and joy instead of anxiety and fear. For example, when facing a problem, picture yourself conquering it like a hero in a movie, rather than seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances. When the mind repeatedly starts playing scenes of worries or fears, it's a sign that the script needs to be rewritten. This means steering your thoughts towards scenarios that inspire confidence and courage. Techniques like positive visualization help shift the mind's focus to images that empower rather than weaken. For instance, picturing a future situation with a positive outcome can change how you act in the present, making your actions more assertive and aligned with what you want to achieve. It's like by changing the mental storyline, you're creating a new reality. The power to direct your own mind goes beyond just creating positive scenarios. When you learn to consciously choose which movies to watch, your emotions start to align with those chosen scenes. So instead of being overrun by involuntary and disturbing thoughts, you become the producer of your own life experience. This process doesn't mean avoiding challenges, but rather rewriting the script so that each obstacle becomes an opportunity for growth and every tough moment a crucial scene in a story of triumph. Emotions affect physical health in ways that go beyond what many people imagine. When feelings like anger, anxiety, or sadness become frequent, the body starts operating in a constant state of alert, which can impact the cardiovascular, digestive, and immune systems. Sadhguru explains that holding on to a negative emotion for too long triggers the release of stress hormones like cortisol, which in excess can cause inflammation and even damage tissues. That's why understanding this mind-body connection is crucial for staying healthy, and practices like daily meditation can help regulate the body's response to stress. Expressing emotions in a healthy way also plays a vital role in maintaining well-being. Suppressing feelings can lead to health problems because the body stores emotional tension in muscles and organs. Finding constructive ways to release these emotions can significantly improve physical health. For example, when anxiety shows up as chest pain or shortness of breath, practicing deep breathing techniques can help calm the nervous system. Regular physical activity is also an effective way to release built-up energy, reducing the impact of emotions on the body. The impact of emotions on health also extends to the immune system. When the mind is in a balanced state, the body is more resilient to illness because the immune system functions more efficiently. Studies show that positive emotions like gratitude and joy can even improve recovery from illness. So, cultivating healthy emotional states isn't just about thinking positive. It's a practical strategy for promoting longevity and quality of life. By learning to manage emotions, you not only avoid mental suffering, but also build a solid foundation for a healthy life. The human mind is an incredibly sophisticated tool, much like a high-tech computer. However, just like a complex device, it needs to be understood and used correctly to work well. Sadhguru emphasizes that the mind doesn't operate effectively when forced, just as a computer crashes when overloaded with too many tasks. To understand how the mind works, you first need to observe how it reacts to different situations and emotions, recognizing patterns and tendencies. By doing this, you can learn to use the mind to achieve positive outcomes instead of letting it drag you into chaos. Understanding the mind's mechanism involves identifying and adjusting the programs it runs on repeat. These programs are thought patterns that have formed over the years and often operate on autopilot. To reprogram the mind, it's crucial to introduce new patterns that promote peace and well-being. For example, replacing self-critical thoughts with positive affirmations can be a way to start retraining the mind toward a more balanced approach. Likewise, mindfulness practices help interrupt cycles of automatic thoughts, bringing your attention back to the present moment. Mastering the mind's mechanism means learning to guide it instead of being guided by it. This involves developing the skill to consciously choose the thoughts that shape your emotional state. When you recognize that you have the power to redirect your attention and focus, you can turn moments of tension into opportunities to practice mental balance. This process isn't a quick fix, but with practice and patience, the mind becomes a powerful tool for reaching your goals and living with more peace. As you explore its potential, you start to realize there's much more beyond just thoughts and emotions. Exploring life beyond thoughts and emotions is about discovering a deeper dimension of awareness. Sadhguru teaches that to experience true freedom, you need to recognize the distinction between the self and the mental and physical processes. Thoughts and emotions are just activities of the mind. They don't represent the essence of who you are. When you start observing your thoughts as a spectator rather than identifying with them, you create distance from emotional ups and downs. This state of observation creates an inner space where peace and stillness can thrive, regardless of external circumstances. Living beyond thoughts and emotions doesn't mean denying these experiences, but understanding that they are temporary. Like waves in the ocean, emotions come and go, and thoughts appear and disappear. When you grasp this fleeting nature, it becomes easier to maintain calmness in the face of challenges. Practices like meditation and contemplation help cultivate this awareness, allowing you to connect with the life force that exists beyond the mind. This state of consciousness goes beyond common definitions of happiness and sadness, opening the door to a deeper life experience. As this understanding deepens, life is no longer ruled by mental and emotional impulses. True awareness emerges when you find an inner balance that isn't shaken by the ups and downs of thoughts and emotions. This doesn't mean that thoughts and feelings stop existing, but they lose their power to control your life experience. From this state of presence, every moment becomes an opportunity to experience life in its purest form. And this journey towards the core of consciousness reveals the key to eliminating suffering. Sadhguru teaches that to eliminate suffering, you need to create a conscious distance between the self and the mental and physical processes. Suffering arises when you identify with thoughts and emotions, believing they define who you are. When you recognize that the mind and body are just tools for experiencing life, suffering loses its grip. Practices like meditation and mindful breathing help cultivate the separation, bringing your attention to the life force that exists beyond the mental and physical state where suffering can't reach. This distance doesn't mean ignoring problems or emotions, but observing them from a new perspective. Instead of feeling trapped by fear or pain, you begin to see them as temporary events that can be faced with calmness. Imagine sitting by the side of a river, watching your thoughts and emotions flow like the current. You're not in the water, but on the shore, aware of the movement without being swept away by it. This state of detachment allows you to handle challenges with more clarity and less distress. Eliminating suffering is an ongoing practice, not a quick fix. As you deepen your understanding that suffering is the result of identifying with a body and mind, inner freedom becomes more and more tangible. When a difficult moment arises, you can consciously choose to redirect your focus to this inner life force, which is unshakable and always present. This constant practice strengthens your ability to live with more lightness and harmony, making room for true inner peace to flourish. Are you ready to apply all this knowledge to your life? Think about how many times fear, anger, or anxiety controlled your actions. Now you have the tools to turn the tables. It's not about eliminating emotions, but learning to use them to your advantage. So, what are you going to do with all this? Will you let this wisdom pass you by, or will you start putting it into practice? How about trying a new way of living, where the mind is your ally, not your enemy? Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and keep following this journey of learning. And to dive even deeper, don't miss the latest video on the channel. Discover why you're suffering. Go beyond the intellect with Sadhguru, together. Let's explore how to overcome negative emotions and achieve a full life.